Good morning, and welcome to the weekly multi-platform service of Tri-County Unitarian Universalist based in Summerfield, Florida. We acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the indigenous Florida peoples. I am Nancy Smith, today's service leader. Hello to our members and friends, and a special welcome to those who might be visiting here for the first time. Unitarian Universalists are united not by a creed of shared beliefs, but by a covenant of shared values. We celebrate that we do not need to think alike to love alike. It is our respect and encouragement of each other's diversity of thought that truly binds us together. For the curious and for the seekers, Unitarian Universalist values and covenant may be found on your order of service and at our website, triuu.org. Our newsletter, included in the timetable, can also be found there under News and Events. We have announcements, but first, please mute your phone or place it in airplane mode. Thank you. If you're here today looking for Reverend Christina, our minister will be back at the pulpit next Sunday. Please remember the Community of Gratitude Food Bank. Linda and Phil pick up unopened food that you so graciously donate each Sunday. Then they take it all to the food bank on Tuesdays. You may leave your donations in the cart just inside the front door of the church. Thanks so much for your help. This concludes our announcements, and as we now begin the service proper, we will recite our vision statement. Please join with your voice as we recite together. We will be an influential voice for progressive religious values in a diverse community. Our chalice keeper today is Tom Murphy. We invite those of you joining us on Zoom to light your chalice at home.
Neil Young said, "Let's roll for justice. Let's roll for truth. Let's not let our children grow fearful in their youth."
Reverend Dr. Tracie Barrett lives in Orlando, Florida, with her husband and 3 cats, and considers herself to be a UU evangelist, sharing the good news about our liberal and liberating faith. Reverend Tracie is the minister of ritual and liturgy for the Soul Fire Project, a collective dedicated to creating transformative experiences rooted in a holistic, expansive, and theologically dynamic Unitarian Universalism. In addition, she spends her summers serving as a chaplain for our youth and emerging young adults at Quest camps in Wyoming and Idaho. She also serves as a senior associate minister at All Souls Miami. Welcome.
It is good to be back with you all this morning. The invitation to centering this morning is by Marilyn Maciel. I, you, us, them, those people. Wouldn't it be lovely if one could live in a constant state of we? Some of the most commonplace words can be some of the biggest dividers. They. What if there was no they? What if there was only us? If words could be seen as they floated out of our mouths, would we feel no shame as they passed beyond our lips? If we were to string our words on a communal clothesline, would we feel proud as our thoughts flapped in the breeze? Please rise and body your spirit as you're willing and able as we sing hymn 396. I know this rose will open.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You gotta let us know you're up there using the mic, or we don't know.
Oh, I said hello.
There you are.
Our side has no chance. Oh, here we go, okay.
We're doing a round this morning. I know this rose will open. So let's let this happen. The people on this side be the first group, and the ones closer to that side be with that group and watch
Them.
We all sing the same song. We just do it starting at different times.
But first, Tom's going to play the whole song through once. Then we're going to sing it all in unison. Then we're going to sing it as a round. You can do it. We can do it. We can do
Believe
it.
in you.
This rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Well done. Be seated. Thank you.
And I will tell you that our youth love this song. They will sing it. They will sing it in a round without prompting. So good job. That's why I chose it, because they love it. So for our whistle stop today, I wanted to bring you a bit of a camp experience. So we're going to do 2 activities that we do every morning during Spirit Circle. And I'm going to invite you to either stay seated, I'm not going to make you get up, unless you want to and you're really ready to wake up, then kind of get up and make sure there's a little bit of room around you. So our first activity is called Shake It Out. So hands up, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good job. And so the second part is one of my favorites, and it's called a Repeat After Me song, okay? And so this is how we do it. This is a Repeat After Me song. This is a Repeat After Me song. And a Do What I Do song. And a Do What I Do song. Oh, Princess Pat. Oh, Princess Pat. Lived in a tree. Lived in a tree. She sailed across. The 7 seas. She sailed across the channel too, and brought with her a rig of bamboo. A rig of bamboo. Now what is that? It's something made by the Princess Pat. It's red and gold and purple too. That's why it's called a rig of bamboo. Now Captain Jack had a mighty fine crew. They sailed across the channel too. But his ship sank, and yours will too, if you don't bring a rig of bamboo. A rig of bamboo. Now what is that? It's something made by the Princess Pat. It's red and gold and purple too. That's why it's called a rig of bamboo. Now Princess Pat saved Captain Jack. She reeled him in and brought him back. She saved his life and his crew's too, because she brought with her a rig of bamboo. A rig of bamboo. Now what is that? It's something made by the Princess Pat. It's red and gold and purple too. That's why it's called a rig of bamboo. Now at camp, that happens a lot louder with a whole lot more activity, and it is one of about 5 songs we do every morning in a group. So thank you for enjoying and being a part of that for me.
As we move deeper into our service, let us turn inward to consider transitions. The joys, sorrows, and concerns we all experience in our life's journey. There are 3 bowls of stones of different colors, representing the gratitude of joy, the grief of sorrow, and the hope of concern. After those presents have placed stones in the water, our ushers will place stones from each of the bowls into the water on behalf of those not physically present and those who have chosen not to or who are unable to come forward. Those online are invited to type into the chat to express what is in your heart. When all the stones have been mingled in the water and all have shared, we will take a moment for silent meditation or prayer. As the sound of the bells ring us back into community, we will sing our response, Spirit of Life. Ushers, you may now come forward. Let us take a moment to reflect upon our own joys, concerns, and sorrows, and those of others. Joyce Mills will now give our sharing of abundance.
This is a fifth Sunday, and many of you recall what we do on a fifth Sunday. We make a special collection for a 501c3 agency, local agency, to give support for various topics. Today is trade school scholarships. In June, we made a special collection for the minister's discretionary fund, delaying the trade school scholarships. You can make a difference for those who desire to pursue a trade in various areas: healthcare, cosmetology, welding, computer repair. The last scholarship that TriUU gave and awarded was for a young woman pursuing phlebotomy. And so she has finished her program, and you may see her at one of your locations. So we want you to be generous. The next person who repairs your home plumbing, tests your blood, or becomes your home care assistant may be the recipient of a TriUU trade school scholarship. Thank you for always being very generous for our programs.
We will now receive today's special offering for trade school scholarships. If you are visiting us for the first time, please do not feel obligated to give. You are our guest, and we are happy to have you here with us today. This is the time in our service when those who wish to make some monetary contribution to our congregation's vision and mission give to support this community and its outreach. If you'd like your donation credited to the trade school scholarships, please write it down on your check's memo line or on one of the brown envelopes available at the back of the sanctuary so we can record it properly. I invite the ushers to come forward.
3 years ago, I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, sitting behind the main stage at General Assembly, helping to put together arches that would serve as doorways for that evening's youth service. It was my first time working as a youth advisor in Unitarian Universalism. That worship, Synergy, was my team's project. I had shepherded two high schoolers as they planned this important worship. And while I was back there chatting with Amanda from the UUA, I got a text from one of the young adults asking me to come out to the tables to join a conversation about the service. I expected a simple logistics question, right? It was not. There were big feelings happening around something that some of the young adults wanted to do during that worship service that others felt was not quite appropriate at that time. And I won't go into the details, but there were a lot of hard feelings and some harsh words being said. I spent my time at the table listening, reflecting, and giving the adultier adult level advice. The conversation ended and I went backstage again. The next moment changed my life. Amanda looked at me and went, "Hey, so I hear that you're an amazing chaplain, and how would you like to come to camp in Wyoming and serve as a chaplain for our middle and high school youth?" So, cool, when? And she said, "Next week." Friends, I had a moment because this was everything that I felt called to do in my life since I was a teenager. And I knew that the board at the congregation I served was already unhappy with me because I had traveled so much for school and for General Assembly and other events. And I joke that I said yes because it was 10 days in July in Wyoming. And I had offered that I would just dig latrines to get out of Florida in July. A week and a half later, I was landing at the Denver airport about to embark on a great adventure. And I expected an easy week because chaplain duties probably just meant dealing with homesickness or maybe some struggles with cabin mates or maybe some stuff campers might be dealing with at home or school. No, so much no. What I discovered and what has brought me back every year since is that our Unitarian Universalist youth are dealing with so many big things. They're dealing with their gender identity and how their families are responding, both supportive and not. They're dealing with figuring out how to survive when the country is outlawing their very existence. They're dealing with deciding if the faith they have been raised in is being reflected in the adult congregation. And after 3 years of serving as chaplain, I felt it was time to share with you all what I have learned from these campers. And not just the campers. These youth and young adults are the heartbeat of our faith, not the future, not the now. They are the present, the way we survive as a faith or don't. Perhaps like me, your church camp experience was not you. And I will admit I had a very big learning curve my first year. My camp experience as a youth was in the Assemblies of God, so it was very different. So what happens during a Unitarian Universalist youth camp? We start our day together in front of the dining hall, where a meal blessing is shared by either a chaplain or one of the campers. We eat, the staff team usually has a meeting, and then we transition to Spirit Circle. And that's a time for fun songs, energizers, not my favorite part because I'm not fully awake yet, and then announcements. And you got a bit of a taste of that. Only we do it in a very large circle, in a field, and very, very loud. We split up into workshops with some groups doing a service project during this time for the campground. And workshops are always related to the theme for the week. And this year our theme was pluralism. So we had options like pluralism cake, hiking, jam band, sand mandalas, mindful movement, fire building and safety, and improv. And all workshops had opening words, the activity, and then closing words. After workshops, we have justice and inclusion time. And each day had various activities and discussion around our values. And I want to share some interesting tidbits that I learned this year. In one of our value voting times, this is when we say you're going to line up with agree and disagree, I discovered that most of our youth felt that TikTok is bad for youth because it's easy to get into an echo chamber and the amount of alt-right content that is being pushed to the youth's algorithms. And 90% of our youth don't use TikTok. Another powerful moment was when we had the youth write down their identities. We were dealing with racial, gender identity, and disability or neurodivergence, and then the societal pressures that they deal with because of it. And for many of our youth, when it comes to gender identity, they feel immense pressure to fit into the gender stereotypes, regardless of where they are on the gender spectrum. Justice and inclusion time leads into lunch with another meal blessing, and then it's off to rest ministry, my favorite time. Rest ministry is an hour of quiet time in their cabins, being monitored by leadership staff, the 25 and up staff, so that their counselors get an hour off and away from them. After rest ministry, it's time for activities. At Quest, the one in Wyoming, that means basketball, gaga ball, friendship bracelet making, always a hit. I got my first friendship bracelet this year. Reverse tie-dye, and sometimes a hike. At Camp Blue Boat, the main activity is swimming and boating because we're on a lake, and we also have crafts available. These are the times I've had the best conversations with the campers because we're relaxed, we're hanging out. After activities, we go into spiritual practices. Now, some groups are tagged with planning worship during this time, and the rest of the campers get to do things like writing a prayer or blessing, guided journaling activities, pluralism and tarot, nature meditations, and building nature altars. I got to lead prayer writing at Quest, and let me tell you, these kids, one of our rising sixth graders, Eben, wrote the following and shared it as a meal blessing the next day. He said, "We all came from somewhere. We came from far away. We came from just down the road. We came from Colorado, Utah, Kansas. We came from the cities, mountains, towns. Even if we all come from different places around the state, country, even globe, when we all come together to one worship, meal, camp, it is truly magical. Every one of us, let this food bless all of us and our time here at camp." I cried. His big sister cried, like sobbed during dinner. After spiritual practices, we have gaggle groups, which is basically like a small group ministry. And they're not the cabin groups, we mix them up, but they're all either middle school or high school. Gaggle groups have a chalice lighting, a check-in with questions, an activity, and a closing. And these groups get deep fast. We go from Sunday, they might not know each other, to by Tuesday, they are sharing deep things about themselves. Each gaggle group is responsible for participating in the service project, either an activity at the campground or postcard writing to voters, and planning a worship. My gaggle at Quest had the final worship, and one of my high schoolers, just into high school, Maddie, wrote the following to share. "When you look up, you can see stars, hundreds of stars, twinkling long into the night. When the clouds come, they cover them up, but that doesn't mean they're gone. You might not see them, but they're there. Millions of stars way up there. Stars come and go, just like friends. We leave this camp, but never forget it. We make friends who will leave when the week is done, but we will never forget them. Every year we come back. We meet old friends and make new ones. But every year we come back again. Just like the stars and clouds, friends are here for you, even when you can't see them." Again, I cried. At Camp Blue Boat, my gaggle was responsible for Tuesday morning worship, which one of my friends thought was a very interesting choice for me to be part of that because it's morning and I don't do mornings well. The group decided to do it at the beach. They planned for everyone to pick up a rock, and these rocks were amazing. Pick up a rock that was unique like them. Then our new camper, first-year camper, Fiona, wrote the reflection. She had them look at the rock, recognize its uniqueness, and recognize that everyone has a unique rock. She then invited them up to the water's edge to throw their rocks into the lake, watching the ripples and how they interact with one another, and drove that point home of everything we do impacts somebody else. It was really powerful, and everyone was talking about the service for the rest of the week. So back to our schedule. After gaggle groups, it's dinner, and you guessed it, another blessing. Then we have some type of evening activity with worship either before or after, depending on the activity. And usually after worship, if it's the last thing we do for the night, you'll find the high schoolers hanging out and spontaneously leading songs around the campfire. And then it's my extra favorite time, bedtime. So very different than what you might have experienced as a youth. Definitely different than what I have experienced. And I tell you all that to say this. Our Unitarian Universalist youth know our faith. They know what it means to be pluralistic, especially after a week of camp. They know how to support one another. They understand how to craft a worship service that is meaningful and engaging. They understand our values and believe strongly in them. They know what injustice looks like, and it makes them really angry. And after talking with some of our young adult counselors, they know what's lacking in their congregations, but they feel powerless to change it. In the 3 years I've served at Quest, I've watched a handful of youth transition to being adults, and I've been there for their bridging at camp. And I had my heart broken this year when these young adults went from checking in with their congregation name during staff training to simply responding, "Camp is my congregation." I want you to hear that. These are not youth who were just sometimes going to church. These are youth who were really engaged with their congregations and their youth groups as teenagers. And once they bridge, once they move from high school to adulthood, once they no longer have that youth space, they no longer feel that the congregation is theirs. And I'm not talking about one or two either. It was 90% of our young adult staff said either camp or I don't really have a congregation anymore when asked to name their home congregation. We know our youth leave after they bridge. We've known for 20 years, as the Commission on Appraisal has repeatedly reported. We've been comfortable saying, well, when they get married and have kids, they come back to raise their kids here, so it's okay. Friends, they're not coming back. This generation that is moving into young adulthood, Generation Z, not millennials, is not planning on having kids anytime soon, if at all. They are yearning for community, and they are not finding it with us. Many of you know this is my soapbox and has been for a very long while. It is what informed my Doctor of Ministry. I have shouted this from the rooftops. We should not be okay with our youth leaving as part of their journey into adulthood. During Camp Blue Boat, I sat and wrote postcards to voters with another staffer and our high schooler Fiona from my gaggle group. Somehow they got me talking on my soapbox, so I began talking about it. And then Fiona shared how things are in her congregation and how she really only attends youth group because the main congregation isn't feeding her in any meaningful way. And she shared how some youth members wanted to join the board and the bylaws allowed it, but they hit so many roadblocks by members who didn't think they should have a voice there. And I realized that may not have been the members' intention, but the impact felt by this high schooler was that her voice was not important. After we cleaned up and got ready to go to our next thing, Fiona pulled me aside and said, "I appreciate what you shared with me. It made me realize that if I want things to change, I need to be there even if they aren't sure they want me. I'm going to start going to main service more and make sure they know I'm there. Thank you." She's the one that made my friendship bracelet. That was the 4th time I cried that week. So what are my lessons from camp for you? 1, our youth are dealing with so much. The state of the world, their own identities, acceptance or lack of, even at home and in their church communities, school shootings, legislation that wants to erase them or their friends, and the knowledge that the world they are about to enter as adults is falling apart around them. They feel this. They know, too. They know what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist in very deep ways. They know and deeply believe in our values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. They know what it means to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And in many cases, they are not seeing this in their congregations. 3, they want to be here. They want to be in communities where they can be themselves and be accepted and honored for that. They want to contribute. They want to be in and create safe and supportive and brave spaces to work out this faith and live into it. They want to invite their friends to our congregations, but they don't because they're not sure it's safe enough for them. 4, they worship deeply. Not to a deity or a concept, but they consider community to be that thing of worth that needs to be lifted up. And after 3 years of worship, youth worship, nightly at camp, I get it now. Their worships are deeply spiritual. They contemplate, they wish, they dream, they hold one another in love, they sing. My goodness, do they love to sing. We often have to kick out the high schoolers when it's time for them to go to their cabins. They would stay around the fire all night if they could. And what that looks like is them sitting in silence between songs, and then someone begins singing something, and we all join in. Newer songs and chants. They're able to harmonize and do them in rounds. Their worship activities are thoughtful and deep. Meditations, conversations, reflections, readings. There is time for silence, time for singing. It's interactive and engaging. Is it any wonder that when they reach the big church, that they find it lacking? 5, they want so much more for us. These youth and young adults believe with every fiber of their being that we, as a faith movement, can change the world. They're ready to go. They don't want to sit in endless committees discussing how to do it. They are brave change makers and are ready to be deployed into the world. They'll do it without us if they have to, but it breaks their hearts. 6, they will be lovers of leaving. We teach our kids well. We share with them about all the other faiths out there. We teach them about building communities. And when we don't live up to our aspirations, they will leave to protect their hearts. 7, they will build their own communities. One of our counselors at Quest has said that he'd love to arrange for a young adult camp where they come up for a weekend or a week to the campground we use and help the camp manager do work. They'll do the work for free in exchange for accommodations. This is the same young adult who told me that camp is his congregation because it's where he gets to really worship. Our young adults are organizing on their own. That may or may not be within our institutions. 8, they may not come back. Congregations who still call the young adults millennials are completely out of touch. That generation is in their 30s and 40s now. They are the last of our youth to return. Generation Z is our young adult generation. And due to the state of the world, they are choosing to delay or simply not have children. What will bring them back? And why are we okay with them leaving in the first place? 9, they are capable leaders, more than capable. One of the things I've learned about UU youth spaces is that they are youth-led. Sure, there are adults to supervise and guide them, but everything at camp, and from what I hear, it is the same in most youth groups, is led by the youth for the youth. Even in our various content teams that we do before camp to prepare, the youth and young adults make the decisions. Other than the opening worship, which is designed by the Spirit team, which has young adults on it, all worship during camp is planned by our youth. 10, we need them more than they need us. Unitarian Universalism, much like many other denominations, has an aging problem. As our adults get older, if our youth are not there to step into those roles, who will? I constantly hear from congregations that there aren't enough volunteers to fill all the roles. Our youth are here to tell us that there are other ways of doing the things we're doing, that, spoiler alert, do not require endless committee meetings happen in the middle of the day. Will we listen? I hope so. Friends, I wish each of you could have the experience of a UU youth camp. Because if all adult UUs, especially those who came out of another tradition or came in with no church experience, could have this deeply connected and deeply spiritual experience, I believe it would change us. And by changing us, we could change the world. Let us not ignore the wisdom coming out of both Generation Z, our young adults, and Generation Alpha, our current youth. Because when it comes to our faith, because if we do, it will be at our peril. May we be open to hearing from the heartbeat of our faith. May we be open to being truly welcoming as they transition from youth to young adulthood. And may we be blessed by those connections. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Please rise as you're willing and able and join us for our closing hymn, 389, Gathered Here.
We have another round, and we will hear it played through once. We will sing it once through together, and then we will start, and Tim's group will come in. Gathered Here.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near.
Good, thank you.
Now read our chalice extinguishing message.
Anonymous quotes for youth today. All your dreams can come true if you have the courage to pursue them. Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do.
I invite anyone who has just begun to visit with us and who wishes to do so to introduce themselves. Please raise your hand and an usher will bring a microphone to you. And please keep the microphone close to your mouth so we can hear you better. Have any visitors today? Oh, what?
Hello, I'm Dawn. I just moved here, arrived on Friday from Tucson, Arizona. I came to Summerfield to be closer to family.
Welcome.
My name is Bruce, and I've just been reminded today of my youth and what a mess it was. I was a drug addict, a thief, and altogether not a very good person. And I just believe that it was the grace and mercy of God that got me through my youth, because I did as much as I could to mess it up. So anyway, I just am very grateful. Amen.
Welcome. Anyone else? If you would like to receive regular communications on upcoming Tri-UU events, please take and fill out a guest card, which will be available at the door after the service. If you have any questions about Unitarian Universalism or our congregation, please see Andrea at the table after the service. Oh, there she is. We are interested to hear how you experienced this hybrid worship service and/or what you took away from the sermon. Please keep comments brief and on topic. For those who are virtual via Zoom, raise your hand to speak or type your comment in the chat box. For those here in the gathering space, please raise your hand. Please share your name and keep the microphone close to your mouth so we can hear you better. And if you wish to be seen on the monitors and by those attending on Zoom, please stand directly in front of the pulpit.
Are you calling on me?
Yes.
Okay, I think we're waiting for that. Tracie, it is so good to see you again. Some of you may not know that Tracie did her ministerial internship here with us, and we are so proud and see every time you're back. But this service in particular, Bill and I have two of our grandchildren came up through UU, and our granddaughter in particular loved the mountain, the North Carolina mountain, and would go back after high school on her own. She would go back to be with her people. Mm-hmm. Now they're in their 30s, they're not. So it was like, yeah, this is them. Mm-hmm. But they're UU in their heart.
Right.
So I hold that. And then, so I'm feeling good about all this camp stuff. And then you hit us with this reality. It was like, ah. So thank you for the reality check. And let's, I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you for everything.
And y'all were the ones that ordained me too. So not just that I served here for 2 years, but you guys ordained me. So you were always in my heart.
Tracie, we've had ministers that speak to our heart, and we've had ministers that speak to our mind. We've had ministers that give us a lot of history lessons. But the ones that speak to my heart feed me spiritually, and I know you really touched a nerve. It's hard to keep coming back if you're not fed. And I remember your sermons. I see you. You remember that one? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Eddie Buford, and Tracie, it was wonderful, wonderful to see you and hear the energy that you have, and we're so proud of you. And the connectedness that you talk about with the children and everybody there. Yeah, I mean, it sounded like a wonderful, spiritual, terrific energy that they possess. And, I just wonder, it's, we do live in a time that, I find myself saying, where do we go from here? And it sounds like that question is paramount with them as well. And I'm wondering, what they see coming forward, both optimistically and pessimistically. If you could share just, some of the things that they're looking forward at the world and becoming.
Yeah, for a lot of them, they're scared. They're absolutely terrified. Like there was like an unspoken rule of we're not discussing politics at camp because it was bringing up so much for them. They're hopeful that they can continue to build community. I will say that I have been lucky to be kind of pulled in as pastoral support for a group of young adult activists in Orlando. Not sure if you're aware, but we are chalking the Pulse crosswalk regularly. And these are all young adults. And let me tell you, we raised them right because they're like, I'm going to call the manager of that Dunkin' Donuts and find out why the cops get to sit there all day. Oh, I don't like their answer. I'm going to corporate. Oh, they're a franchise owner. Does somebody have LinkedIn to look to see who they are? I'm going to call FDOT and get the statute. They are on it. They're in it. Like, my phone goes off all day long in this group chat I'm in with them. And, my role is to simply go, hey, did y'all drink water? Like, can you drink some water? Are you guys doing okay? Everything okay? And so I think there is an optimism that once they can get into the spaces to be able to make decisions, that they will be able to change things. In Orlando, we have Maxwell Frost is our representative. He's the first millennial to be in Congress. And that energy, I think, really helps them. And that's kind of what I bring to them, because they all sit there and go, ooh, Florida. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Chaplain. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. Let's not talk about me. But it's, they are optimistic. And they are geared up, and they are pissed. Like, they are mad and good. I mean, that's those of you who were activists in your youth, that's sometimes that energy that you need. But they're also scared. We have campers who use names and pronouns at camp that they can't use at home. And, it's heartbreaking, and they know who they are, right? So we need to trust that. And that's, I think, the biggest takeaway I've taken from them.
Thank you for an excellent and inspiring talk this morning. One of the things that occurs to me is, as a congregation, we do not have any formal mechanism. We don't have any bridge built to those kids in our communities around here who might not even know about the concepts of Unitarianism, who don't have any idea in the world that there are people who are open to supporting them and would help in supporting them and getting through the issues that they have in their life. We just don't have a bridge. We wait for them to show up. They're not going to just show up. They will show up if we can get to a point where we can build that bridge and give them a reason to show up. I don't know what the mechanics are of it, but I know they're missing.
Mm-hmm. And I know, because I was here when the congregation kind of made the decision of who you guys are, and that's great. Here's what I would advise. Those of you who have been activists, offer a training on how to be an activist, because these youth need to hear from their elders who have been there and have done that and have done the marches and have done the protests. Guide them. Give them advice, and if you offer it as hey, we're going to do a training, and offer the space as a meetup for you to do that, for anyone who's doing activist work, right? First U in Orlando is doing that now. They have an activist progress hub meeting like once a month or something, where different groups come in and they kind of talk about, here's what we're doing, and strategize and all that, and they just offer the space, and so that is something, even if you're not necessarily a congregation that will, be able to support youth and young adults on Sundays, give them they're not looking for just Sundays. If they're working in hospitality, especially young adults, Sunday morning, that is not the time they're getting up. It's just not. And I get that, having worked in that, not the time to get up. But if you provide things at other times, and even just spaces, and here's what we've learned, let us hear from you, how can we support you? Not just say, here's how you should do it, but what are you doing? What can we help with? Do you need somebody to do the research for you? Well, we can do that. That kind of thing, and start building those connections in the community will help, because they are ready to go.
Thank you, Tracie. Good to see you again. My comment is generic about children and youth. And I'm going to give you an example. I was in a supermarket recently, and there was a parent with 3 small children, and they were wild and running all over the store. But the mom really didn't take any action, do anything about it. My thoughts were not positive. Well, then, in the aisle was a big display of cases of beer, and they climbed up there, and they fell, and the beer was all over the floor. My thoughts didn't get any more positive. And the employees said to the manager, you should make her pay for that. Now, I wish I could have just smiled at those children rather than sit with my feelings. And another example is when I see a teenager and I pass her or him and they have 6 shades of purple, and I don't say anything, but what could I do? I could say, I like your hair. And for me, and the lesson that I've learned, is no matter who the child is or where I am, to acknowledge and accept.
I smile at every child I see, even if they're misbehaving or whatever, because that may be the only smile a child gets in the day, especially if they're struggling with behavior in, perhaps they're on the spectrum and they have a hard time regulating themselves. Just smiling can help them kind of regulate, and that's important. And yeah, people who, because I used to dye my hair all kinds of colors, we love it when people say they love our hair, so. Our benediction today is Beyond Borders by Rick Hoyt. Go forth, because we are always going forth from somewhere, going from our homes, our childhoods, going from our cities and countries, going from innocence to experience to enlightenment, going into mystery and questions, going into the desert, getting to the other side. Go forth, leave behind the comfort and community of one place, head into the anxiety and loneliness of another. Carry with you the love and laughter of this place and let it light your way. Carry with you the wisdom you learned and the good memories. May they give you strength for your journey. And when you have been away long enough, far enough, done what you'd set out to do, been there so long that that place too starts to feel like home, come back. Come back to the one, universal, everywhere and every when and every one, inclusive home. This beloved community of all creation that you can never really leave. Amen.
picked it on purpose.
In the back of the room until 11. If you want a bit more to eat and more time to visit, there's a sign-up sheet on the table near the bookshelves to coordinate with others who like to go out for brunch. The Zoom room will stay open for 20 minutes, and I know I may be amidst Gator country, but go Dogs.